The Oklahoma House passes a bill targeting immigrants without legal status. An Oklahoma man has been arrested for allegedly targeting the Satanic Temple headquarters with a pipe bomb. And the state reaps millions from the total solar eclipse. We'll have details on the KGOU AM News Brief for Friday, April 19th. I'm Nick Daniels. Oklahoma is a step closer to criminalizing people in the state without legal immigration status. State Capitol reporter Lionel Ramos has more on a fierce House floor debate bringing into question the bill's legal and moral merits, as well as the consequences of its passage, intentional or not.
House Bill 4156 was introduced by the Republican Majority Floor Leader John Echols. He says the bill is common sense policy for Oklahoma, in light of the federal government's failures to secure the southern border. He rejects the claim the bill allows for racial profiling, which he, quote, abhors in all of its forms.
Nothing inside this bill will allow racial profiling. It should never be okay, and it is not okay. And I do trust our law enforcement to not do that.
Democrats Arturo Alonso Sandoval and Annie Menz each tried to amend the measure to increase accountability of officers who make wrongful arrests and to protect people who can prove they've lived and paid taxes in Oklahoma for a long time. Republicans swiftly denied those efforts. In response, Alonso Sandoval accused them of election year theatrics.
One thing to me is clear. This is not policy-focused. It's not solution-focused. It's strictly campaign messaging.
The measure passed along a 77-20 party line vote. It now moves to the Senate for consideration. In Oklahoma City, I'm Lionel Ramos.
Nearly 90% of Oklahoma voters support limits to prior authorization. That's where health insurers decide if a service is medically necessary and if they will cover it. State Impact's Jillian Taylor reports a bill moving through the state legislature could provide more transparency in the process.
House Bill 3190 by Cherokee Republican Carl Newton would require insurance companies to make prior authorization requirements for treatments accessible and provide timely notice to providers and patients if they change them. A licensed medical professional would also need to weigh in if an insurer wants to deny care. Dr. Diane Heaton, the executive director of the Oklahoma State Medical Association, says a study it conducted found Oklahoma voters trust physicians like her to decide what care they need over insurance companies. House Bill 3190 is headed to the Senate floor. For State Impact, I'm Jillian Taylor.
An Oklahoma man is accused of throwing a pipe bomb at the Satanic Temple headquarters in Massachusetts. OPMX's Robbie Korth reports on what he faces.
Sean Patrick Palmer is charged with using an explosive to cause damage to a building used in interstate commerce. Federal prosecutors accuse Palmer of tossing a pipe bomb in the early morning hours of April 8th toward the Salem, Massachusetts home of the Satanic Temple, which describes itself as a non-theistic organization founded in 2013. Surveillance camera footage shows Palmer igniting and tossing the pipe bomb at the Satanic Temple's building. It partially detonated, causing a minor fire and damaging the building's exterior. Palmer wrote in a 6-page handwritten note that he was sent by Elohim to, quote, smite Satan. He was arrested earlier this week at his Perkins home and faces at least 5 and up to 20 years of prison. In Oklahoma City, I'm Robbie Korth.
Well, as expected, the total solar eclipse was a financial boon to Oklahoma. State tourism officials say visitor activity brought in about $42 million during the 4 days around the April 8th eclipse. More than 122,000 people from 40 states and multiple countries took in the solar event at 7 state parks. Those visits generated about $15 million for the state. That's more than 1/3 of the total economic impact from the eclipse. The Tourism and Recreation Department says it plans to build on the momentum from this event to bring even more visitors to Oklahoma. And Oklahomans will take a moment this morning to pause and remember the tragic event that took place on this day in 1995. 29 years ago, the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building was bombed in the single deadliest act of domestic terrorism in U.S. history. 168 people lost their lives. The remembrance ceremony is scheduled to start at 8:45 this morning outside at the Oklahoma City National Memorial. You'll find more news at our website, kgou.org, and on the KGOU PM News Brief podcast.
At a time when information continues to come at us faster and faster, sometimes you need to hit pause and rewind. NPR's Throughline takes you back in time to the source of the news stories filling your feed. Find NPR's Throughline wherever you get your podcasts.